Well, hello everybody, welcome to Robert's Train Set. This is a follow-on from the piece I did on the KD couplings. And you saw, I've called it the KD, the good, the bad and the ugly. So, what do I mean by this? Well, my experience with KD couplings has been all of those things. And at the moment, the Class 68 with my Intercity blue and white carriages is the good. It works absolutely superb, and I will show you later on it running around at 100 miles an hour, according to my rail master, forwards, and pretty fast backwards as well, which it wouldn't have done before the KD fittings were put on it. In the foreground we have the Thompson L1, and you can see a couple of the Dapol wagons. This is partly a good and partly a bad and partly an ugly. So no further ado, we'll get on with the piece. Later on I'll explain how I managed to get the magnetic plate that we use to decouple these into the track. I have actually let it into the track. So here we have the 68 running at 50 miles an hour. So it's now running at 60 miles an hour, and I will just increase the speed, and hopefully we'll get some nice sounds out of the engine. Right, so from our original 60 speed, we're now doing 80, and it sounds great, doesn't it? So according to Railmaster, this is now crackling along at 100 miles an hour, and it looks fairly fast, doesn't it? And as you can see, running lovely, touch wood. Never say never when you're filming. So I'll now slow it down and we'll start doing it backwards. So from the 20 it's just been running out, it's now going to start going backwards. Will it derail? Hopefully not. I shall now increase the speed. So we're now up to 40. This engine noise is from it accelerating up to 70 miles an hour backwards now on my fairly tight third radius curves. So we are now going backwards at 90 miles an hour, and this is where I start getting a little nervous. We'll see if we can just keep it up to 100, shall we? It's all going well at the moment, as we can see. And here we go. This is the 100 mile an hour in reverse run. And these Kadee'S are working absolutely superbly. So I'm really happy. So this is a good. This could never have happened with the old type couplings. I think the new Hunt couplings will probably do this with ease. But there we are. I didn't know about them. So we've now got the passenger train going around at sedate 30 miles an hour with no sound, so that you can hear the Thompson, and we'll set the Thompson off on its way. This is the good and the bad, and we'll see what happens. So as the Thompson comes towards us, this train has a habit of decoupling. But the good is that these Dapol wagons at the front of it, with the old couplings, would never, and there we are. As you can see, it's decoupled for no reason. It'll run round for a couple of circuits and then it will decouple. But these Dapol wagons, there is no way they would have pulled those other wagons behind without coming off the track. The pressures and the stress on them would have just pulled them off because they're very light wagons. I have put some more weight. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the Dapol wagons to the rear of the train rather than the front of the train. So here we are again, and the Thompson is now pulling the same wagons but in a different order. And as you can see, I've got the conventional coupled wagons at the front and the Dapol wagons at the back. And this runs merrily around. This is still doing the 20 miles an hour the original one did. And all works lovely. And it didn't always. The whole rake had conventional couplings, then the Dapol ones would have caused problems. So what can we say about this rake? It certainly improved it, and I'm happy that I've done it. Well, it's not all good, obviously. In certain orders of carriages or wagons, it doesn't work very well. But if you get the right order, then that's fine. And I always run these Dapol wagons at the back of any goods train I run because they just cannot take the pressure of the other wagons. Oh, well, I hope you enjoyed that bit of extended running. So, what do I think of Kadee'S? I think is the question that I'm asking myself. I must admit they're really nicely engineered, and to all intents and purposes they do work. But it's not all good. By trying to adjust the metal piece at the bottom of these, I managed to destroy two of them by basically breaking off the claw. So if you do adjust them the way I said with the pliers, you must absolutely make sure, and it's no good really showing you with the pliers, you won't see, but you must get the claw on the top of where the metal piece is, and obviously the other side on the bottom of that, and then just do it gently. Do not put any pressure on the actual claw. because it will break or you'll dislodge it. So be careful with that. Perhaps it would pay to buy the proper tool for it. But when you're starting out with these, you just need to see what they're like, which is what I've basically done. If you're not sure what ones to use, KD do sell a pack with different KDs in them. I did think of that, but found that you're going to have a lot that maybe you won't be able to use. So I did what I did. I started out doing this with a couple of ideas in my head on what I wanted to achieve. As you saw with the BR blue and white carriages, I think I've achieved that. They run really well. I can uncouple all the wagons, all the carriages, and put them in my cupboard, because obviously, having my train set in the lounge dining room area, it's got to be fairly neat and tidy when you're not using it. Okay, you see the train set, can't help that, but you don't want carriages and rolling stock all over the place, so I put them in a cupboard and they've got to really come apart. So obviously these coupled trains, like the 411 EMU, and to a certain extent the 101, and also obviously the container wagons, they are a problem because I've got to try and move them around all together, and you know, it's awkward. So the first what's the name has been sorted, I think. I'm quite happy with those. So the second one was obviously the little Dapol wagons. I'd say they were a nightmare. If I had my time again, would I buy them? They're a nice wagon, but I just find them really skittish and will fall off at the slightest little problem. I would say I'm glad I've done them. They work certainly better than using the conventional couplings that seem to bind up and knock them off and whatever. They still do seem to uncouple when they've got too much weight on, which I don't know whether that's the wagon's fault or the coupler I would think, but I don't know. But they do work. So what I'm going to do now is rearrange the camera, and I've got a bit of track on my little work table here. And what I said at the beginning of this was I'd show you how I let the magnetic plate into the sleepers, didn't I? So we'll get on and do that. So here are my two wagons here, and you can see I've now got the magnetic uncoupler let in the track. I know it doesn't look much different from what you saw last time, but I assure you it is let in, and I will show you in a minute. But while it's in there, it works. And if you go across reasonably fast, obviously pushing doesn't make much difference, but pulling, they will stay together, although occasionally they might uncouple. So there we are. So I'm quite happy with those. I have had to bend most of these up. I do find that they catch on the points and they catch on the connections for the DCC system. So I've literally bent most of these up anyway, which I didn't want to do, but I've had to. And that is the most problematical, I think, where they are and where you put them. In the end, I used this magnet to give me an idea of where to bend them to. Okay, so what I've got here is basically what I've got at the end of my terminal station. I wanted to have 300 mil from the buffers to the centre of this magnet to allow for my longest loco to go up and uncouple. And I worked it out, if I do it 210 mil from that joint, that should be right. So how did I do it? So first of all, let's take it out. And I've held it in again with the white
grip as we did last time. And I don't know how well you can see this. It's probably quite difficult, but it is actually let in. I've taken the camera off the tripod to try and show you what I've done. So, and I've got this torch just to illuminate it, and as you can see I've hollowed those out. Now the obvious way to do them would be with a little Dremel, which I don't own, and my other machine that used to be like a Dremel broke. So how did I do it? Well, it was pretty simple really. I went back to my trusty soldering iron, my battery one, and it worked very well. It was hot enough to melt the plastic, level it out from each end, and then either a chisel or a modelling knife to just cut the excess away. And I think it's worked quite well. As you can see, I'll now put it back in, and if I tip the rail up, it is fractionally, I would say, above the level of the rail. Now in the instructions for Kadee'S they say to be 1/64 of an inch above the track. So I think that's probably about 1/64 of an inch. They're very small, isn't it? So that's worked quite well, and it wasn't too difficult to do. So I just thought I've just done a piece. I've just shown you where the bit of track is with the magnetic thing is compared to where it wants to go, which, as you can see, in the end of my terminal station. So we'll have to see how this works out. But until I can get the locos I want to use on it with the proper couplings, it's I may not do it. I'll see how I go. So to finish off, it's basically achieved what I wanted it to do, the couplings. Few frustrations. As I said, I wanted to be able to uncouple them in this terminal station. But most of the locos, or the small ones, i.e. the Ginty, and a lot of the carriages that I might want to use, like the clear story ones and the maroon non-corridor ones, have the same couplings as this Ginty, which is a screwed on one, so no N.E.R pocket. So a bit of a frustration. So do I buy the Kadee'S with the little boxes that you can screw on and whatever? Maybe I might get a couple of packs and try. And just to finish, as these Kadee'S are American, I did have a little bit of a look at what the Americans, how they do them. They seem to be able to adjust them more in America because of the way they fit them to their wagons. It was quite an old wagon that I watched, but basically you can buy little shims to go under the box to alter the, what's the name? Obviously if that helped, that lowered them, and was quite easy to do. To actually raise them up, you were shaving away plastic, a bit like I've done in this bit of track. So not ideal, but how do you adjust an N pocket? You can't, can you? It's where it is. And I think because N pockets tend to make the coupling a bit sloppier, i.e. it can go up and down, we get more problems. I'm sure there are far more experienced modelers than me that have overcome this problem. But you know, I'm new to the hobby. I've only been doing it a couple of years, so it's all new to me. But overall, I'm fairly happy. I'm glad I've got them. Delighted with the performance of the Intercity train, absolutely, and being able to use the 68 on it, because I couldn't have done that before. So it's been a worthwhile exercise, I would say. So if you're thinking of doing these, I would say if you want to be able to uncouple them, fine. If you're not worried about uncoupling, I think perhaps the new magnetic Hunt couplings are probably a better bet. But I would say if you are going to have the KDs, be careful what length you buy, because if I'd have bought even the medium length or the standard length, I would have had trouble with the carriages, wouldn't I? So yeah, okay everybody, so just like to finish by thanking all my new subscribers. I've got a few, again all my ones that stay with me, and I hope you've enjoyed this. Any comments or questions, please ask, although I'm not sure that I'd be able to answer them. And there are loads and loads and loads of absolutely stuff about KD couplings on YouTube, so have a look at those as well. Cheers everybody, bye.